Thank you very much for keeping it on Camnet TV. This is the Lunchtime Cafe. Welcome to it. My name is Marco Kwakos. Now, this is a program that comes to you every Mondays up to about Thursdays at exactly 12 hours. We start with the midday news and then we get into various segments that we ensure that we keep you informed and updated with what is happening on this particular show. So the other segment that I'm talking about, we do have a segment we call the Emerging Stories segment. Now, on that particular segment, we give you stories of what is happening around us right now, because our reporters are right in the field and they update us on what we expect to see in our evening menus. And those stories will come our way on a segment that we call the Emerging Stories segment. We move on and we go to the next segment, which is the Forgotten Stories segment. Now, on that particular segment, we take you back and just refresh your memories on what used to happen some few years back on this particular day, just to see where we have come from and remind ourselves of what used to happen then, and just see if there are any stories that we can pick up from there and follow them up. So after the Forgotten Stories segment, we give you another segment that we call the viewers' reactions. Now, on that particular segment, we get interactive with you who is at home. You call us on the numbers that are on your screens, or alternatively, you can go to our Facebook page, which is Camnet TV, and then go to the comment section of this particular broadcast and leave your comments there. We'll be more than happy to see what you think about what we are looking at today on this particular program. So those are the segments that we have on this program, and today we start with the Emerging Stories segment. But also remember that later on, not just now, later on we are going to be opening the phone lines for you to call us and give us your views. So let's start with the Emerging Stories, and we start with the Minister of Education, and we do have a story from the Minister of Education, and it says Education Minister Douglas Siakalima has urged parents across the country to encourage children to go to school. Now, speaking when he officiated at the ministerial stakeholders meeting, Mr. Siakalima said marrying off children at a tender age does not help and that it is a loss to the country. Mr. Siakalima says that children must be considered as the country's asset, as they are the future leaders. He says marrying them off will not benefit them, but that will only benefit them, the bride price, but that if educated, the children will bring long-term benefits to the family and the country at large. Let's have a look at this.
Understand one thing, that marrying off these kids, you only get 3,000. When they become surgeons, every month they'll be getting 40,000. They'll be giving their own, especially a girl, they'll be giving them 5,000 per month. My mother is like, she works every month because she has got a salary from me. That is how you can invest in your own children. But thank you for the knowledge that I have learned here today. It was logic. If they were just memorizing, they couldn't have done the way they were exchanging themselves. This one speaks this one says this one says this. It means that they have internalized something. So thank you for that. And thank the teachers for that. And go and tell the teachers, you can be seated. Go and tell the teachers that here is what the president tells me. Wherever you meet a teacher, greet them on my behalf, because they are the oxygen of our country, teachers. So wherever you are, teachers, thank you so much. But what I want to call upon ourselves as the ministry, let us not abuse the monies that we have been given. You have killed a surgeon, you have killed a metallurgist, you have killed a pilot, because one of you here one day will be able to fly a president.
So, Education Minister there, Douglas Siagalima, encouraging parents to ensure that they take their children to school. That's one of the stories that we do expect in our 1930 menus tonight. So, make sure that you tune in for the details of that particular story. Let's move on. The next story says Zambezi Seed has donated 250,000 kwacha towards the successful hosting of the Umutomboko traditional ceremony. Now, Company Corporate Affairs Director Evans Ngoma says his company is delighted to be associated with traditional ceremonies, as this is a way of preserving the Zambian culture. Mr. Ngoma says the company seeks to see all traditional ceremonies being successfully hosted. Now, he further called on corporate world to ensure that they come on board and support traditional ceremonies, the traditional ceremony rather, which it will be held on the 29th of July 2023. And Umtomboko Ceremony National Organizing Committee Vice Chairperson Moma Lumpa says preparations for the ceremony have advanced.
We have come on board in a very, very strong way to sponsor the Umtomboko ceremony, and we are presumably the main sponsors of this year's ceremony. By taking up this enormous endeavor, we wish to demonstrate that we are committed to supporting activities that add value to our nation's culture and heritage, including uplifting the livelihoods of the local communities. Therefore, we as Zambezi Seed have donated a total amount of 250,000 kwacha towards the successful hosting of the 2023 Umtomboko traditional ceremony.
We are not sinking. We are very much prepared, and boosts like Zambezi Seed are bringing on board. I think we are almost there. And like we say, we want to open Luapula as a tourist circuit. So it's not just the ceremony you'll be watching, you'll be seeing many more other things. Like this moment, we want to bring about a gift to Mwata, which you'll be seeing as you come from Tomboko. So the ceremony will not just start on the 29th, we will start on the 28th, because there are events which will culminate into the ceremony itself.
So that is about the forthcoming Umutomboko traditional ceremony celebrated in Luapula, in Luapula province, by the Bemba-speaking people. So the ceremony is billed for the 29th of July, and hope that you are making preparations to go there and witness this grand ceremony. So it is also a story that we expect in detail during our 1930 evening news. So do make sure that you are available for that particular bulletin. Let's move on and look at another story that we expect at that particular time. The Community Action Against Corruption observes that the arrest of senior government officials and UPND members in connection with the Sujilite saga in Luapula province has exposed some opposition political parties that are not interested in the fight against corruption. Now, Organization Chief Executive Officer Brighton Tembo points out that based on the same opposition political parties who only a few months ago called for the arrest of former Luapula Province Minister and senior police officers, including some UPND members involved in illegal sujilite mining, have today shifted their narrative to call the arrest of these people as cosmetic and tribal arrests. Now, he is shocked that the opposition have completely shifted their narrative to tribal arrests without considering the fact that the people arrested in the scandal are not from one ethnic grouping. Let's have a look at this.
You know, it is very much shocking to learn that up to now, the Auditor General's office has not issued a statement denying that the letter which is at the center of the allegation that the 65 million kwacha confiscated from Faith Musonda has been misappropriated or it has been misused. It is surprising. Why should it take 24 hours, 48 hours, or this long by the Auditor General's office to distance itself from that letter, if that letter never came from them? Because at the moment, as things stand, that letter is a contradiction. It is now standing in contradiction with whichever statement government has made concerning that 65 million kwacha. And we can say whatever statement will come from the Auditor General's office denying that the letter never came from them will be taken as a damage control measure. But otherwise, the silence which has been shown so far is indicative of a situation where the letter must have come from them.
That is about the issue of the arrest of people that are involved in the illegal mining of sugilite. So moving on, that's a story also we do expect to make a feature in our 19 hours menus. Moving on, in other news, the Zambia Civil Liberties Union, ZCLU, an advocate for child rights and welfare, has strongly condemned the recent incarceration of an 8-year-old child by police officers at Matero East Police Post. Now, organization Deputy Executive Director Maurice Makalu says it is not only a blatant violation of the child's rights, but also shows gross irresponsibility by the police. Now, he says the incarceration of the 8-year-old child raises an alarming disregard of the child's fundamental rights and a clear violation of the Penal Code, the Juvenile and Children's Code Acts, Regional and United Nations Convention on Rights of the Child, which provide clear guidelines for the protection of children's rights, dignity, and well-being. Let's look at this.
The Zambian Civil Liberties Union, we condemn the detention by the police of an 8-year-old child. It is a disgrace. We cannot accept it as a people. We cannot accept it as a country. The police are making strides in educating and training police officers in matters of child protection. As ZCLU, we have even engaged them to find common ground for cooperation to ensure that the enforcement of the Children's Code Act is well coordinated with other stakeholders. So there is serious efforts on the part of the police to ensure proper enforcement of children's rights. That said, this incident of detaining an 8-year-old child is a disgrace, and we condemn it in the strongest terms. We also condemn Honorable Miles Sampa for sharing the photo of an 8-year-old child revealing the identity. That's irresponsible, and it should not come from a public figure, a leader of society like an MP. Zambia as a society, we must start taking caution of how we treat issues of children, because very soon some parents and even just ordinary members of society will find themselves dragged to court by the Zambian Civil Liberties Union for abusing children's rights. We urge the police to investigate thoroughly and bring the culprits to book in this incident. Let an example be shown that children need to be protected both by the law and by our culture and norms.
Thank you very much. So that is about the child, an 8-year-old boy who was detained at Matero East Police Station, and a lot of stakeholders have raised concern as regards that particular matter and how police would detain such a minor. And various people have been weighing in on this matter and condemning the police for that particular act. Police spokesperson yesterday was spoken to, and he did also make it clear that it is illegal to detain a child of that age, but it did happen at that particular police station. So a lot of stakeholders have been raising concern as regards that particular matter. Remember, we are going to be giving you an opportunity also as viewers to give us your view as regards this particular matter also. That's a story also that we do expect to feature in our 19 hours menus. So you make sure that you don't miss that particular bulletin as we give you the details of that particular story. So that is about the emerging stories. We do expect more to come your way at 19:30 on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on Go TV, and on Topstar we are on channel 106. And also remember that we stream live our news on our Facebook page, which is Camnet TV, and not forgetting our YouTube channel, which is also Camnet TV. So those are the platforms you can catch us live with our menus at 19:30, and these are some of the stories that you are going to be watching on that particular bulletin at 19:30 in the evenings. So we now move on to our Forgotten Stories segment. But before we do that, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be getting into the nitty-gritties of the stories that happened some few years back, so that we just refresh our memories. Welcome back. Now, this is the Forgotten Stories segment. Now, on this segment, we give you stories that happened a few years back. We just want to refresh your memories, just to show you where we have come from and what used to happen in those years. So today we start with 2020. Now, in 2021, on this day, the Media Liaison Committee expressed worry at the increasing attacks on media personnel by alleged political party cadres. Now, the committee alleged that there was a deliberate ploy by the then ruling party, Patriotic Front, to attack media institutions at will and with impunity. Let's have a look at this.
The Media Liaison Committee has observed with deep worry and concern that there is a systematic scheme by the ruling Patriotic Front, its leadership that is, and their cadres to attack media institutions at will and with impunity. It is very clear that this is a deliberate strategy by the PF and its leadership to silence the media using violence and intimidation. We come to this conclusion because if it were not their strategy, then the PF would have definitely controlled their thugs who are masquerading as cadres. Once again, PF cadres, just a few days ago, attacked Mafken FM in Mvulira on the Copper Belt. The Media Liaison Committee condemns this attack and notes that as a nation, we have now even lost control, or rather we've lost count as to how many radio and TV stations have been attacked by the PF cadres since the PF came to power. This is the worst governance level our country is currently experiencing. The PF are fully aware that even in this COVID-19 problem, citizens should continue to engage on national issues. And this is mostly being done virtually. So why should PF cadres dictate radio or TV programs and who to host by radio stations and TV stations?
So that is about the attacks on the media in 2020, where the Media Liaison Committee thought, no, it was too much, and that they alleged that there was a deliberate ploy by the then ruling Patriotic Front to attack media institution and, of course, media personnel. And they thought this was something that was not good and had to condemn it strongly. Let's move on. Now, in the same 2020, on this year day, the women in the Patriotic Front castigated UPND Choma Central Member of Parliament, Cornelius Mwetwa, for refusing to apologize to the then Vice President Inonge Wina. Now, this was after Mr. Mwetwa referred to Mrs. Wina's statement as shallow. Let's have a look at this.
Speaker, I communicated to management yesterday that I can't apologize for no wrongdoing.
So you have refused?
I am not apologizing.
Take a seat.
Mr. Mwetwa, which home are you coming from? How were you brought up?
How were you brought up? Patriotic Front Women's League have posed this question to Choma Central Member of Parliament Cornelius Mwetwa for using disrespectful language to the Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, Inonge Wina, by calling her shallow and shameful. Last week, the Member of Parliament refused to apologize to the Vice President in Parliament and went ahead to call for a press briefing where he made it clear he was not going to apologize for saying the truth.
Mr. Speaker, asking me to apologize is like asking me to stop breathing. I made it abundantly clear to your committee
Honorable member, take a seat. Take a seat.
And now, the Patriotic Front women in Lusaka province say this act will discourage women from participating in politics in Zambia. Vice Chair Lady of the province, Chilandwe Chitangala, has asked the Member of Parliament to apologize to her honor, the Vice President, or else they shall ask for the Speaker of the National Assembly to look into this matter, as women feel aggrieved at the disrespect which was shown to Inonge Wina.
We feel aggrieved as women of not only the Patriotic Front, but of Zambia. You know, we are now at a time that we are fighting for equality, gender equality in our politics and decision-making positions. And this is when men, we think men that can support us, are now rebuking and disrespecting women and disrespecting a woman who's supposed to be a mother of a nation, Madam Inonge Wina, a woman who is so graceful, a woman who's carried herself so well, a woman who has inspired us to get into politics for some of us. This is a woman that was disrespected by Cornelius Mwetwa, who is a Member of Parliament for Choma. So for us as women, we feel so aggrieved. So we are here now asking the Speaker of the National Assembly to also go further and take up this case. It must not end here.
However, Cornelius Mwetwa made it clear, he said that to her, because she is a leader and not a woman, she should therefore learn to embrace criticism. Constance Mwemba reporting for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
So that was what was happening in 2020. This was at the time when the Choma Central Member of Parliament had refused to apologize for his statement when he referred to the then Vice President Inonge Wina, to his statement as shallow. Let's move on. In 2021, on this day, MMD faction, calling itself Operation Save MMD, led by Raphael Nakatinda, threw its weight behind the candidature of PF's Edgar Lungu in the 2021 general election. Let's have a look at this.
In my election, and as members of the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, we have resolved, not only today but in time past, that we're going to campaign and give a vote to President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Members of MMD, bapitiriza kutitana as leaders. Utubwerani tikabisane zaseza kwanju my election. Tinaenda ku Eastern Province in numbers, and we provided guidance. Just when we're about to come to Lusaka to be able to interact with you, we had the misfortune of losing a founding father, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. So out of honor and respect for him, Mr.
Now, moving on this very day, the Transparency International Zambia expressed concern on the increased use of government resources for campaign purposes. Let's have a look at this.
With growing concern, the increasing use of public resources such as district government vehicles, fire trucks, and others for campaign purposes. For instance, one of the infamous $1 million fire trucks was recently spotted at Mulungushi University in Central Province, helping with the mounting of a Patriotic Front billboard. Now, TZ would like to remind political parties of Article 63D of the Zambian Constitution, which stipulates that a political party shall not use public resources to promote its interest or that of its members. TIZ also urges the ECZ to take interest, since Article 3B of the Electoral Process Act number 35 of 2016 stipulates that it is the duty of the Commission to ensure that political parties do not use state resources to campaign for the benefit of any political party or candidate. Now, we are concerned as TIZ that the continued misuse of public resources to support the campaigns of the ruling party is skewing the political playing field in a manner that will not promote the conduct of free and fair elections. We therefore challenge the ECZ to also come out strong on this issue.
Thank you very much. So that is about the stories that used to happen back then. We call that segment the Forgotten Stories segment, just to refresh our memories on what used to happen. So you can also pick a story from those and give us your thought when we get to the viewers' reactions segment, where we expect to interact with you, our viewers, as you tell us what is on your mind as regards the stories that we are looking at on this beautiful afternoon. Now, remember that segment comes up shortly. We'll be opening the phone lines, and you can call us on the numbers that are on your screens right now. The other number, which is 0962 444 7426, that particular one is strictly for WhatsApp. If you want to send us a voice note, you can send it to that particular number. If you want to send a video of yourself giving your perspective of any of the stories that we are carrying, you can do a 1-minute video and send it to that particular number. You can also send your messages, WhatsApp messages, to that particular number. We'll be glad to have a look at what you think about what we are looking at this particular morning. The other numbers are 0973 7840. That is the number you can use to call us directly in the studio, so that you give us your thought about what we are looking at this particular afternoon. Or alternatively, you can go to our Facebook page, which is Camnet TV, and then go to this particular broadcast, because this broadcast is live. You can go to this particular broadcast and then give us leave your comment as regards what you think about the stories that we have been looking at this particular morning. But that segment will be coming up shortly. This is what we call the viewers' reactions, to be coming up shortly. But before we get into that particular segment, let's take another short break, and when we come back, we'll be moving on. Thank you very much. So that is our Forgotten Stories segment, where we were just refreshing your memories, giving you some stories that happened a few years back. Let's move on now. Let's get into the more interactive segment, where you, our viewers, will be calling us on the numbers that are on the bottom of your screens. But remember that the other number, which is 0962444726, is strictly for WhatsApp. So you can send your WhatsApp messages there, you can send the WhatsApp voice notes there, or you can do those short 1-minute videos and send them to that particular number, as long as you are talking about the issues that we are looking at this particular afternoon. So that we get interactive and get to understand what you also think about what we are looking at. Now let's quickly look at some of the stories that you may want to react to. The first story that we talked about was that of Minister of Education Douglas Shagalima urging parents across the country to encourage their children to go to school, because he says this marrying off children at a tender age is not beneficial at all, and that children must be educated so that the family and the country at large might benefit from their education. Moving on, we did also have another story that spoke to the issue of the Umutomboko traditional ceremony, where Zambezi Seed has donated 250,000 kwacha towards the successful hosting of that particular traditional ceremony. So that's another story that we have, that if you would love to, you can respond to and give us your thought on what you think about that particular story. Another story talks about the community action against corruption has observed that the arrest of some senior government officials and UPND members in connection with the Sejilite saga in Ruapura province has exposed some opposition political parties that they are not interested in the fight against corruption. So that's another story also that we were looking at. You can give us your thought on that particular story. And also we did look at another story which is very, very interesting to me, I think. The story says the Zambian Civil Liberties Union, an advocate for child rights and welfare, strongly condemns the recent incarceration of an 8-year-old child by police officers at Matero East Police Post. Now, organization Deputy Executive Director Morris Makalu says it is not only a blatant violation of child rights, but also shows gross irresponsibility by the police. Now, he says the incarceration of the 8-year-old child raises an alarming disregard for child's fundamental rights and a clear violation of the Penal Code and the Penal Code, the Juvenile Act, the Juvenile and Children's Code Act, Regional and United Nations Convention on Rights of the Child, which provide clear guidelines for the protection of children's rights, dignity, and well-being. So that's another story also that we were looking at on the emerging stories. And also we did also look at the forgotten stories, where we did speak about the Media Liaison Committee complaining about the harassment of the attacks on media personnel and media institutions back then in 2020. And also we did look at the story where women in the Patriotic Front had castigated the then UPND Choma Member of Parliament Cornelius Mwetwa for refusing to apologize to the Vice President Inonge Wina for a statement that he had made, which says that Mrs. Wina's statement was shallow. So moving on, we did also look at the story when the MMD faction led by Rafael Nakachinda, which was calling itself the Operation Save MMD, threw its weight behind the candidature of the PF presidential candidate Edgar Lungu. And also we did look at another story which talked about the TIZ expressing concern about the increased use of government resources in campaigns during that period, particular period, which was 2021, as we were headed for the 2021 general elections. So those are the stories that we are looking at, and those are the stories that we expect you to call us and give us your thought on. We do have a caller on the line. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mopleta. Good afternoon.
Your name and where you're calling us from?
This is Mr. Mtare calling from Kabugushi.
Mr. Mtare, please go ahead and give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I just want to comment on Mr. Mitwa's reaction on the former Prime Minister of this country, Mama
Sure.
It was pathetic because Mr. Mitwa was supposed to apologize. Politics from independence ever pretty sure she's a man of this country. How should Mr. Mitwa come up with that example that he is?
Hello? Okay, he's left. Thank you very much. Anyways, we do appreciate your contribution on that particular matter. You can also call us. The number is 0973167840. That is the number you are dialing if you want to get in touch with us and give us your thoughts on the issues that we are looking at today. We do have quite a number of stories that we are looking at. You can call us and give us your thought on 0973 167840. That's the number you are dialing. Alternatively, you can call us on 0968 667 5273. We have another caller. Hello, good afternoon. Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Your name and where you are calling us from?
This is Mr. Mutale calling from Kabugushi.
Mr. Mutale, please go ahead and give us your thoughts.
Yes, I was talking about Mr. Mitwa's comment. He was being asked by the Speaker of National Assembly to apologize to the former. So for me, I've seen that the leadership of Mr. Mitwa is not good. But we were supposed to apologize to that particular, our mother, Mama Inogovina. She had the impression in the time, which I don't know you and Amayo. And I don't even know why you and Amayo, why I didn't know. That they should be complained vigorously. Not to buy character. Because those Mama Inogovina never received that one. That's why we're not even seeing the leadership we were. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming through. We really do appreciate your contribution. You can also call us on 0973167840. That's the number that you are dialing if you want to get in touch with us. Alternatively, you can call us on 0968 6755273. That's the other number that you can call if you want to get in touch with us, or you can send your WhatsApp voice notes or WhatsApp videos or even WhatsApp messages to 0962 444-726. That's the line you can use for WhatsApp. If you want to send a voice note, if you want to send a short video clip of yourself explaining or giving us your view on the issues that we are looking at, you send to that particular number. We'll be more than happy to have to hear from you what you think about what we are discussing this beautiful afternoon. Also remember that you can go to our Facebook page, Camnet TV, and then go to the this particular broadcast, go to the comment section and leave your contributions there. We'll be more than happy to see what you also think about what we are discussing this particular afternoon. A quick look at the stories that we were looking at today. There is a story of the Education Minister Douglas Siakalima who has urged parents across the country to encourage their children to go to school. Mr. Siakalima was speaking when he officiated at a ministerial stakeholders meeting where he told parents that marrying off children at a tender age does not help and that it is a loss to the country. Now, Mr. Siagalima says that children must be considered as a country's asset, as they are the future leaders. Now, he said marrying off children at a tender age will only benefit them the bride price, adding that if they are educated, the children will bring long-term benefits to the family and the country at large. We also looked at the story of Zambezi seat, which has donated 250,000 kwacha towards the successful hosting of the Umutomboko traditional ceremony. Now, Company Corporate Affairs Director Ivan Singoma says his company is delighted to be associated with traditional ceremonies, as this is a way of preserving the Zambian culture. Now, Mr. Ngoma says the company seeks to see all traditional ceremonies being successfully hosted. He further called on the corporate world to come on board and support the traditional ceremony, which will be held on the 29th of July 2023. And Umutomboko Traditional Ceremony National Organizing Committee Vice Chairperson Muma Lumpa says preparations for the ceremony have advanced. Now, we also have had a story that says the Community Action Against Corruption has observed that the arrest of some senior government officials and UPND members in connection with the Sujilite saga in Wapula province has exposed some opposition political parties that they are not interested in the fight against corruption. Organization Chief Executive Officer Brighton Tembo says that based the same opposition political parties who only a few months ago called for the arrest of former Luapula Province Minister and senior police officers, including some UPND members involved in the Sujilite mining saga, have today shifted their narrative to call the arrest of these people as cosmetic and tribal arrests. So that's another story that we are looking at. And then we also did look at a story where the Zambia Civil Liberty Union, an advocate for child rights and welfare, strongly condemned the recent incarceration of an 8-year-old boy by the police at Matero East Police Post. Now, organization Deputy Executive Director Maurice Makalu says it is not only a blatant violation of child's rights, but also shows gross irresponsibility by the police. So those are the stories that we are looking at. You can call us on 0973 167840. That's the number you can call and give us your views on the stories that we are looking at. And also you can call us on 0968 675273. That's the other number you can call us on. If you have WhatsApp messages, or you want to send a voice note, or you want to send us a short video of yourself giving us your opinion, you can send those messages to 0962 444 726. So that's the number for your WhatsApp. So alternatively, you can go to Facebook, search for Camnet TV, and then go to the comment section of this particular broadcast, because we are broadcasting live on our Facebook page, and then leave your comments on that particular page. We do have another caller on the line. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Your name and where you're calling us from? Hello? Hello? Okay, we seem to have a bad connection there. We do hope that you can call us back on that particular number. Now, let's see if we can get to the detail of a story which talks about children and taking them to school, where the education minister... Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Your name and where you're calling us from? Please go ahead, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, we were going to go sorry. The moment that what I'm from ministers, more especially by that one. Was it? I want to buy a pension. By now, our minister, our minister. I remember that Spain. Which means that I take another time of what here. No matter why it's a good way that you go at you, you don't want to go to the child. Mamma, if you go at you, let your phone company, but you're a shut up to January. So, nobody else said, I want to go to Charlotte and get Shinka. We have a power to you. What do I feel of what?
To Atashamkwai. So you can also call us on the numbers that are on your screens, 0973-167840, or alternatively you can call us on 0968-675273. That's the number you can call us on and give us your thought on the stories that we are looking at. So we did, we were saying there is, the Minister of Education is actually attending a meeting, a stakeholders meeting, ministerial stakeholders meeting, where he was talking about the marrying of children and ensuring that parents take their children to school, encourage their children to go to school as opposed to marrying them off. And he did also say that it does not benefit the parents to marry off their children, but it does benefit them if they take them to school, because on the long run, the children, if educated, will be supporting the family, and also the country will benefit from their services if they grow up to be doctors, if they grow up to be pilots and everything. So the minister was speaking to the stakeholders this particular moment. Let's see if we can have a listen to this.
Where you come from doesn't matter. All he needs, the president, all he needs is your brain. And we have demonstrated that we have got a better brain than anybody who comes from where I come from. I come from Kalundu there, next to Ngombe, which you call compound. I call Ngombe as Kalundu extension. Okay? You make yourself come from Kalundu as long as you stay in school and put your mind in school. It ends there. And this is a clear call from the president that it doesn't matter where you come from. Nobody is poor around yourselves. Okay? You are rich in mind and rich in spirit. That's all the president is trying. When I went to George, somebody said, these are coming from George compound. I said, how about Lord that went compound? Because it separates individuals. When I went to Kanyama, they said, us are coming from Chivoli. I said, stop that. You are all made in the likeness of God. All that the president requires is just your mind, your brain. And today, you demonstrated that. I'm glad that my colleague from British Council said he has moved 35 countries. The best that he has found are these kids. So what else would you want to do apart from thinking about these kids? And then government gives you subventions, then you abuse those subventions. You are killing these kids. And nobody does that. My PSS, you are here. Admin, you are the one who controls the funds. Nobody does that. If you do that, I'll show you the way out. If you are a head teacher, TEPS, PO, whoever, director, and whatever, you abuse the funds that are supposed to help these kids, I'll show you the window. If there's no door, I'll drop you through the window. Because we must start feeling. Put yourself in what these kids were saying this morning. These are not my children. But I find somebody today here who will become a surgeon. And when I'm old, I need an operation. Somebody who was not even known is a surgeon at a hospital. She will operate on me. This is the investment that we do towards these kids. Madam Head. How I wish you had also brought some parents so that I speak to the parents, that they must encourage their own children to go to school. And this is what I do wherever I go. When the parents are also brought, I talk to the parents that our own asset, not only that they will help their own parents when they are in the state of employment, or they have become managers themselves, or they become entrepreneurs themselves. The parents must understand one thing, that money off these kids, you only get 3,000. When they become surgeons, every month they'll be getting 40,000. They'll be giving their own, especially a girl, they'll be giving them 5,000 per month. My mother is like, she works every month because she has got a salary from me. That is how you can invest in your own children. But thank you for the knowledge that I have learned here today. It was logic. If they were just memorizing, they couldn't have done the way they were exchanging themselves. This one speaks this one says this one says this. It means that they have internalized something. So thank you for that. And thank the teachers for that. And go and tell the teachers, you can be seated. Go and tell the teachers that here is what the president tells me. Wherever you meet a teacher, greet them on my behalf because they are the oxygen of our country, teachers. So wherever you are, teachers, thank you so much. But what I want to call upon ourselves as the ministry, let us not abuse the monies that we have been given. You have killed a surgeon, you have killed a metallurgist, you have killed a pilot, because one of you here one day will be able to fly a president. Huh? Okay? One of you here is a surgeon. One of you here is a metallurgist. One of you here is an agronomist. One of you here will be the most renowned, if you like, gynecologist Africa has ever seen. Thank you. God bless you.
Yes, he does deserve a standing ovation. And I know it's difficult to do that, especially after the cracking of the whip. Let's take our seats. I've seen the minister give a number of speeches. Never have I seen him so upset. And I like the fact that he mentioned at the end that these are not even my children. Because, but just the fact that we are disrupting or
So that is what is happening at the stakeholders meeting, where the minister is interacting with various stakeholders as regards the education sector. And the minister, what he brought out in that particular meeting was the issue of ensuring that children are taken to school and not married off at a tender age, so that the country, both the country and the families, could benefit more from the children when they begin to work. So that's one of the stories that we were looking at on our Emerging Stories segment, and we also were looking at a story of Zambezi Seed having donated 250,000 towards the successful hosting of the Umutomboko traditional ceremony, and also the Community Action Against Corruption was talking about the arrest and of course the fight against corruption as regards the arrest of the former Luapula Province Minister, some senior police officers, and of course members of the UPND. We also did have a look at that. We expect that story also in our 19 hours main news, 1930 rather, main news. And also we did also look at a story of a civil society organization that has strongly condemned the incarceration of an 8-year-old boy in Matero East police post, where that particular child was held for a night. And the organization says this shows gross irresponsibility by the police officers that did arrest that boy. So those are the stories that we were looking at, and we also took you back in time where we looked at a story where the Media Liaison Committee was complaining about the increasing number of cases of journalists or media personnel being attacked in 2020. And also we did look at a story where the Patriotic Front women had castigated the then Choma Member of Parliament, Choma Central Member of Parliament, Cornelius Mwetwa, for refusing to apologize to the then Vice President. We did also look at another story where the MMD faction, which called itself the Operation Save MMD, had said they were going to support the candidature of the Patriotic Front candidate, Edgar Lungu, in the 2021 general election. And we also looked at a story where the TIZ had expressed concern as regards the use of government resources during the 2021 campaigns. So those are the stories that we were looking at. We did give an opportunity to you to call us and give us your thoughts on those particular stories, and we did receive quite some calls talking to us about what they think about those particular stories. So this has been the Thursday edition of the Lunchtime Cafe. Don't forget to join us again Monday as we come up with another interesting edition of the Lunchtime Cafe. And on behalf of the entire production team, have a blessed afternoon.